Hello, I'm Humayra together with my other friends from Tutorial to Group 1 are going to delve into discussion questions on planning, fast fashion, as well as mapping a new direction.
Now, Zara and I will answer the first discussion question. The question is, why are formal plans generated? Formal plans are generated for several important reasons. First, formal plans provide clear direction and objectives. They clearly state what needs to be achieved, define the scope of work, and outline the expected results. This helps ensure that all parties understand their roles and work towards the same goals, reducing confusion and misalignment. Second, formal plans support the efficient use of resources. By planning in advance, organizations can allocate time, budget, labor, and materials more effectively. This helps avoid duplication of work, unnecessary costs, and resource shortage during implementation. Now, I will pass it to Zara for the next points.
My name is Zara Maya binti Aiman and I'll be explaining points 3 and 4. Third, formal plans support effective monitoring and control within an organization. They act as a clear benchmark against which actual performance can be measured over time. By having documented goals, timelines, and standards, managers are able to regularly compare planned progress with actual outcomes. This makes it easier to identify problems such as delays, cost overruns, or quality issues at an early stage. As a result, corrective actions can be taken promptly, helping the organization stay on track and avoid more serious consequences later on. Finally, formal plans help to reduce risk and uncertainty. The planning process encourages managers to think ahead and identify potential risks, challenges, and uncertainties that may arise during operations or projects. By anticipating these issues in advance, organizations can develop contingency plans and mitigation strategies. This proactive approach allows organizations to respond more calmly and effectively when unexpected problems occur, rather than reacting under pressure with limited options. In summary, formal planning plays a key role in ensuring clarity, efficiency, control, and effective risk management in organizations. It provides clear direction, supports coordination and decision making, and helps organizations achieve their objectives in a more structured and reliable manner. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I will continue with question 2, which is discuss why planning is beneficial. Firstly, planning provides a clear guide for action. It helps managers and employees understand what needs to be done and how their actions contribute to the organization's overall objectives. When clear plans are in place, everyone works toward the same goals instead of acting independently. This coordination reduces confusion, prevents duplicated effort, and ensures that decisions and actions are aligned with the desired outcomes. As a result, organizations are able to operate more efficiently and achieve their target more effectively. Secondly, planning improves the use of resources. Resources such as time, money, labor, and materials are always limited, so they must be managed carefully. Through planning, managers can identify priorities and determine where resources are most needed. This allows them to allocate resources efficiently, reduce wastage, and avoid unnecessary spending. By using resources in the most productive areas, organizations can maximize output while keeping costs under control. Third, planning increases motivation and commitment among employees. When goals and expectations are clearly set out, employees are more motivated because they understand what they are working towards. Planning reduces uncertainty and gives employee a sense of direction and purpose. This clarity encourages commitment as people are more likely to put in effort and take responsibility when they know exactly what is expected of them.
Hello, I'm Humayra here. We'll be continuing on why planning is beneficial. Planning in performances generally has a positive relationship. This does not imply that managers plan only a solution for a given problem. Instead, we enhance the quality of planning and focus on appropriate implementation of plans where we are not out of alternative when facing uncertainties. That is to say, we uphold a many-to-one relation by preparing varieties of solutions for a problem which may deviate according to the political, economical, and societal pressure. Flexible planning, which comes with adaptability and ability to adjust to the given circumstances, improve the decisional role of being a disturbance handler, along with boosting the overall performance of a company. In spite of many criticisms of formal planning exist, it is undeniable that planning comes with lucrative results. From fulfilling its fundamental purposes of providing direction to setting the standards to facilitate control, it is valid to say that planning shapes a manager to have a clear purpose and for the whole organization to adapt with flexibility to changes in the situation, which always varies from time to time.
Good day everyone, so this is Yasmin and I shall explain the first 3 of the 6 steps strategic management process. So the first step is to identify the organization's current mission, goals and strategies. We start by assessing where the organization stands right now to understand our current situation. We review the mission statement, our existing goals and our current strategies to make sure we are all on the same page, which will actually help us to establish a clear starting point before we move into any new planning. Okay, and next we do an external analysis in the second step, where we scan the macro environment to look for opportunities we can use and threats we need to avoid. We also try to detect any potential hazards that might affect the organization's success. And to do this properly, we use tools like pulse analysis or industry analysis to gather all the facts about what's happening outside the company. And next, we move on to the third step, which will do an internal analysis. This is where we determine our competitive advantage by looking at what we do better than others. We also have to be honest and pinpoint our vulnerabilities, which are our internal weaknesses. Okay, so by looking at things like our resources and performance, and also our internal culture, we can see if the organization is actually strong enough to reach its goals. We then synthesize all of this into a SWOT analysis with step 2.
Continue with step 4, which is formulating strategies. This focuses on developing plans to achieve organizational objectives. At this stage, managers identify 3 main types of strategy. Firstly, corporate strategy that determines the overall direction of the entire company. Next, business strategy that explains how the firm will compete in specific markets. Finally, functional strategy that support business strategy through the action of different departments such as finance department or HR departments. Moving on to step 5, implementing strategies. This step involves putting the formulated plans into action. In other words, the organization ensures that its structure, resources, and activities are aligned with the chosen strategies so that objectives can be achieved effectively. Lastly, step 6, evaluating results. This aims to determine how effective the strategies have been. To do this, managers review the strategies being implemented, measure actual performance against key performance indicators, and if necessary, take corrective actions when goals are not being met.
Next, we will continue with case discussion 4. How analyzing strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat helps strategic management process externally and internally. Let's start with internally. Analyzing strength and weakness can help the company know their competitive advantages as well as the area that needs improvement. Knowing these things, company can now allocate resources, mitigate risk, as well as making informed decisions. Here are some things organization can do when they are analyzing their internal factors. Let's start with strength. Strengths are the unique capabilities or resources that allow an organization to perform better than its competitors. Capitalize on advantage. Organizations should direct their primary energy towards the area they excel. For example, if a company that has a strong distribution network, its strategic decision should prioritize expansion rather than cutting costs and manufacture. Next, building a competitive edge. By identifying unique strengths, organizations can focus their investment and effort to create unique market positioning. Lastly, resource allocation. By knowing this, the organization can allocate resources to its most beneficial activities rather than spending it carelessly. Next, weakness. Acknowledging weakness could help us decide what should we fix or avoid. First, identify improvement. They say understanding the problem is half the solution. Organization can now start developing plans so they don't lag behind competitors. Next, mitigating risk. Organization could start making defensive plan in case something bad happens. Lastly, strategic development. Sometimes a weakness can dictate an entire direction of organization. For example, if a company can't compete on price due to high manufacturing costs, they will have to shift their strategy toward differentiation, focusing on premium products where its specific and different quality can shine.
Externally, SWOT analysis helps strengthen the strategic management process by letting organizations to identify opportunities and threats in their external environment, such as political regulations, economic conditions, social changes, technological advancement, market trends, and competitor actions. This analysis supports organizations to make more data-based and concrete decision-making, resulting in a more structured strategy. First, it helps organizations to identify potential opportunities such as unmet consumer needs before the other competitors, and it also identifies potential threats, which allows managers to create plans that already anticipate or prevent any upcoming threats. Second, it helps managers to decide which plan works the best based on their external environment analysis, resulting in a more effective outcome. Third, analyzing external factors like opportunities and threats assists organizations to order which plan should be executed first before the others based on urgency or market situations. And then lastly, these external factors helps to create a more flexible and easy to adapt strategies, letting organizations to avoid any blunder making actions or adjusting to market circumstances whenever needed.
Hello, I'm Zahra, and now for the chapter discussion question 5 is organizations that fail to plan are planning to fail. Agree or disagree? Explain your position. So, we as a group agree with the statement, so we do believe that organizations that fail to plan are planning to fail. This is because when an organization fails to plan, it may cause consequences. So, for example, the first consequence would be poor decision making and inefficient use of resources. This is because usually planning would provide direction and goals for the organization. So a plan is used as a guide when doing the work. So without that guide, without planning, the organization may find it difficult to make decisions and allocate their resources efficiently. The next consequence would be affecting the teamwork and performance of the organization. So this is because usually planning would set out roles and responsibilities for each employee. So everyone would have their own tasks to do and contributing to the final outcome. So without proper planning, employees may be confused or unmotivated to do the work. So this would affect the overall productivity of the organization. Now my groupmate will continue.
Why planning matters? First, it gives out a clear direction. Planning spells out targets as well as behaviors that will be required to hit them. So life under planning is a life of shared purpose. Next is reduce risk and uncertainty. Managers cannot plan without looking ahead and trying to forecast future developments, opportunities, and threats. And lastly, coordinate and control work. Plan integrates activities across organizational units so that individual tasks are tied to common objectives and deadlines.
My name is Arzakiri Sakarina, and I'm going to start with the summary of Case Study 1, Fast Fashion Primark. Primark is a value fashion retailer competing with high-end brands like Burberry and Alexander McQueen by offering trendy clothing at very low prices. Primark was founded as Pennies in Dublin in 1969. It expanded quickly across Ireland and entered Great Britain in 1973, reaching 22 stores by a year later in 1974. By 2000, Primark had 108 stores and later expanded into Spain in 2009, Netherlands 2008, Portugal, Germany, and Belgium in 2009, Austria in 2012, France in 2013, and US in 2015. Today, Primark operates 287 stores worldwide, covering nearly 11 million square feet and employing over 54,000 people. Its success is built on fast fashion trend, offering trendy clothing at very low prices, sometimes starting as low as $4. Primark is a highly attractive employer. They offer strong pay, training, and management training program focused on global sourcing. Unlike other retailer, Primark does not have an online store, as low product prices would not cover the high cost of running an online platform. The company also doesn't advertise traditionally. Instead, they rely on public relation, word of mouth, and strategic store location. After criticism over Asian factories, Primark decided to adopt ethical trading practices. And since 2014, they improved labor standards in China by raising wages and hiring more workers, leading to positive results. Knowing most decisions happen within 3 seconds, Primark focuses heavily on store layout, visual merchandising, and in-store experience to attract consumers.
Now, in question 611, we are looking at Primark's decision to bypass e-commerce. While most retailers sell online, Primark focuses on physical stores to protect their unique business model. This strategy is based on 3 main areas that I've looked into, including profitability, operational simplicity, and risk management. Okay, so starting with profitability, the cost of individual shipping does not align with the financial goals of a high-volume, low-price retailer like Primark. Primark's profit depends on keeping costs low to maintain their famous price points. In a direct-to-door model, the logistics of preparing a single low-cost item for shipping often costs more than the item itself. So by staying offline, they eventually avoid the financial burden of high return rates, ensuring that every transaction contributes to the total profit rather than being absorbed by the shipping fees. And next, we have operational simplicity. Okay, so by bypassing e-commerce, Primark avoids the complexity of managing 2 different distribution systems, one for bulk shipping to stores and another for delivery to individual homes. The current system is a straight line model where stock moves from the factory to a central warehouse and directly to the shop floor. So this simplicity allows them to turn over stock faster and eliminates the need for expensive facilities or even more labors dedicated to packing individual customer parcels. Alright, and then the third is a matter of risk management. Okay, by focusing on physical locations, Primark protects the in-store shopping experience, which actually encourages customers to discover products in person rather than through a digital interface. This approach also reduces their reliance on third-party logistics partners. So by keeping the entire process within their own store network, they maintain total control over their costs and protect the business from external disruptions like delivery delays or also rising courier rates. However, this strategy is not without its challenges, which are all interconnected. Because they have a limited geographic reach, they can only sell to people who physically visit the store. So this leads to an inconvenience for the modern consumer, especially those who prefer the ease of digital shopping. And ultimately, this creates a lack of customer data, as they cannot track shopping habits as easily as online first brands. So to sum up, Primark prioritizes physical efficiency and also cost control over digital expansion.
Hi everyone, I will continue with the question 612, which is differentiate Primark's marketing from that of other retailers. Firstly, in terms of promoting their brand, Primark relies heavily on word of mouth, public relations, and strategic store positioning rather than traditional push promotions. Unlike many other retailers that spend large amount on advertising through social media, influencers, or TV commercials, Primark chooses not to advertise at all. This helps the company significantly reduce costs, which supports its overall low price strategy. Word of mouth promotion works particularly well for Primark because customers are often surprised by how fashionable the items are despite their low prices, which encourage them to recommend the brand to others. In contrast, other retailers depend on aggressive promotion and advertising campaigns to constantly remind customers of their brand and products. Secondly, Primark does not have an online presence such as an e-commerce platform, unlike most modern retailers. This is a deliberate strategic decision rather than a weakness. Setting up and maintaining an e-commerce platform involves high costs, including logistics, warehousing, delivery system, and returns management. Since many of Primark's products are priced as low as $4, this additional cost would significantly reduce profit margins or force the company to raise prices. By avoiding e-commerce, Primark is able to keep prices extremely low, while other retailers rely on online sales and digital platforms to reach customers and increase convenience. Thirdly, Primark invests heavily in in-store marketing to encourage impulse buying. According to the case study, research shows that 75% of customers' purchase decisions are made within 3 seconds at the point of sale. Primark takes advantage of this by focusing on store layout, visual merchandising, and product placement. Eye-catching displays and frequently updated stock encourage customers to make quick, unplanned purchases, which helps increase sales revenue. In comparison, many other retailers rely more on online marketing alongside their in-store experience to influence customer decisions. Lastly, Primark focuses on offering product at the lowest possible prices, while other retailers emphasize brand image, premium quality, or the latest trends. This pricing strategy attracts price-sensitive customers, especially students and families who prioritize affordability over brand prestige. By keeping prices low, Primark reduces the need for frequent promotional campaigns or discounts, as low prices are already a key selling point. In contrast, other retailers often rely on seasonal sales, promotions, and branding strategies to attract customers.
For question 613, which is provide examples of fast fashion chains in your country, first is Padini and Brands Outlet. Padini and Brands Outlet is a local fast fashion brand with numerous outlets in Malaysia and abroad. It serves affordable and fashionable clothing for teens and also families. Next is H&M and Zara. H&M and Zara is an international fast fashion chain. It usually presents stylish, quickly changing fashions at mid-prices in busy malls. And lastly, online fast fashion websites such as Shopee and also Shein. It is usually ultra low cost and has rapidly new styles. We will continue on the second half of question 613, which is how would they cope with competition from an expanding retailer such as Primark? Firstly, we will compete on being different, not cheap. We would serve high quality, better fit, and more distinctive styles. For example, having trend-driven designs, functional basics, or even touching the local taste. We will also create strong brand identity and loyalty programs so that customers are loyal to the brand and not just because of low prices. Next is strengthen efficiency and value. We will speed up the supply chain and optimize inventory control to frequently refresh collections at low cost. We will also leverage bundle deals, essentials, and outlet sections to provide high value without sacrificing profit. And lastly, we would use channels and customer experience. We would expand e-commerce, click and collect, and even mobile apps to reach new customers. We will also enhance in-store experience by appealing displays, speedy checkouts, and even localized marketing for Malaysian youth.
My name is Zaramaya binti Aiman and I will be explaining question 6-14. The case has described several important types of planning that contribute to Primark's overall success. Firstly, strategic planning is evident in the company's long-term goal of expanding into new countries and international markets. This involves analyzing global demand, identifying suitable locations, understanding cultural differences, and positioning the brand in a way that appeals to cost-conscious consumers worldwide. Strategic planning ensures that Primark does not expand randomly, but instead follows a clear direction that supports sustainable growth and long-term competitiveness. Secondly, Operational planning plays a key role in Primark's daily business activities. This includes cost control, efficient sourcing of materials, supply chain management, and store layout planning. By carefully managing operational costs and optimizing store designs, Primark is able to maintain its low price strategy while still delivering a consistent shopping experience. Effective operational planning helps reduce waste, improve efficiency, and ensure that products are available to customers at the right time and place. In addition, the case highlights the importance of human resource planning, particularly in areas such as employee training, workforce scheduling, and performance management. Well-trained employees contribute to higher productivity, better customer service, and smoother store operations. Setting clear performance goals also motivates staff and aligns their efforts with the company's objectives. Human resource planning ensures that Primark has the right number of skilled employees to support both current operations and future expansion. Furthermore, ethical and sustainability planning is becoming increasingly important for Primark. This includes improving labor standards within its supply chain, ensuring fair working conditions, and reducing environmental impact through more sustainable practices. By addressing these issues proactively, Primark can minimize ethical and reputational risks while meeting growing consumer expectations for responsible business behavior. Overall, these different types of planning significantly support Primark's future operations and global expansion. They allow the company to maintain low prices, improve employee performance and productivity, strengthen its brand reputation, and achieve sustainable long-term growth. In summary, strong and effective planning enables Primark to grow efficiently while remaining competitive in an increasingly challenging global market. Thank you.
My name is Nura Anzana binti Mama Aman, and I am going to present the summary of case study 2, which focused on Tesco. Tesco was founded back in 1919 by Jack Cohen. It was starting from a small grocery store in the East London. Over time, it expanded rapidly and becoming one of the largest retailers in the UK, and eventually entering 11 countries by 2017. By that year, Tesco has employed nearly 500,000 people and had over 3,400 stores globally. One of the driving factors behind Tesco expansion was its early adoption of e-commerce in the early 2000s. They led the market with an online grocery service which was a game changer, and they had over 500,000 online customers that setting them apart from the competitors. Tesco has achieved strong market dominance in the UK, with nearly 30% of the grocery market share. One key reason for this success was its heavy use of business intelligence system, which helps Tesco understand customer behavior and choose the best store location. Tesco also adopted a differentiated product strategy by offering various price and quality tiers. This allowed the company to target different customer segments, from value-seeking customers to premium buyers. In addition, Tesco diversified its operation beyond groceries into areas such as petrol station and online retailing. This diversification reduced risk and increased overall revenue streams. Despite its success, Tesco faced major challenges. In 2014, the company recorded its largest loss due to over-ambitious international expansion and increasing competition from low-cost retailers like Aldi and Lidl. In response, Tesco implemented a renewal strategy. This included cutting costs, selling underperforming businesses, improving customer service, and reassessing pricing strategies. By 2018, Tesco's strategy led it to report its highest profit in 7 years, partially due to the successful
For question 615, based on the Tesco case, I will explain whether it pays to plan and which part of the strategic management process were mainly illustrated. Yes, based on the Tesco case, it clearly does pay to plan. Tesco's transformation from a small grocery store into one of the largest retailers in the United Kingdom shows that effective planning supports long-term growth, market leadership, and competitive advantage. Through careful planning, Tesco was able to expand strategically, diversify its business, and tailor its product and services to meet the needs of different customer segments. However, the case also highlights that planning must be realistic and continuously reviewed. Tesco over-ambitious international expansion resulted in major financial losses in 2014, showing that poor planning or lack of control can be costly. Tesco later recovered by reassessing its strategies, reducing costs, and refocusing on customer value. This demonstrates that planning is not a one-time activity but an ongoing process. Next, based on the strategic management process, the Tesco case mainly illustrates three key steps. First is formulating strategy. Tesco formulated various growth and competitive strategies, including aggressive expansion, product and market segmentation through its value and finance range, diversification into non-grocery businesses, and investment in online retailing. After experiencing financial losses, Tesco reformulated its strategy to focus more on cost efficiency, customer service, and core markets. Second is implementing strategies. Tesco translated its strategies into action by expanding its store network, acquiring competitors and wholesalers, introducing different store formats such as Tesco Express, strengthening its online operation, and later implementing cost-cutting measures and organizational restructuring. This shows how strategic plans were executed at the operational level. Third is evaluating results. Tesco evaluated its performance after reporting major losses in 2014. The company reviewed its strategies, identified weaknesses, and took corrective actions. The effectiveness of these changes is evident in Tesco's return profitability by 2018, highlighting the importance of monitoring performance and making adjustments. In conclusion, the Tesco case confirms that planning pays when strategies are properly formulated, effectively implemented, and regularly evaluated. The case mainly illustrates formulating strategies, implementing strategies, and evaluating results, demonstrating that strategy management is a continuous and dynamic process. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, I am Zahra, and I'll be answering discussion question 6-16. The question is, based on what you have read in the chapter, which strategic weapons is Tesco relying on here? So the first and most evident strategic weapon that Tesco uses would be their well-planned expansion and scale of the chain. Basically, how Tesco started from just a few areas in the City of London to later operating in 11 other countries across the world. So Tesco focuses on selecting strategic and suitable store locations, which helps them to reach customers more effectively. In addition to that, Tesco had also bought out their competition, such as other convenience store chains, which helped them to expand quickly and also increase their market presence. Next, Tesco practices differentiation of products. So basically what this means is that instead of relying on a single product line to cater to everyone, Tesco offers different product ranges to target different customer groups. So for example, for price-sensitive customers, Tesco introduced value products, enabling customers who are on a budget to not spend too much on their needs. On the other hand, they also created a finest product section, which is aimed at their upper class customers. So basically it's for those who are willing to spend more for products of higher quality. So by doing this, Tesco is able to attract a wide range of customers under the same brand. So this puts them on par with other low cost as well as premium retailers. Another strategic weapon is Tesco's creativity and innovation. So Tesco has moved away from being just a basic supermarket selling groceries. Now they offer a much wider range of products, including clothing, beauty products, and electronics. They also ventured into other businesses like coffee shops and banking, and they have also developed a strong online presence through their e-commerce platform, which serves thousands of customers weekly. So this is all to make sure that they can still stay relevant and competitive, especially now that the retail environment is changing. So, with the increasing popularity of online shopping. Okay, and lastly, Tesco has flexibility in restructuring. So, after facing a major loss in 2014, Tesco showed that they have strategic flexibility by making the decision to restructure their operations. They took some low cost measures. Basically, they laid off staff, they sold their low performing businesses, and they also worked on reviewing and improving their pricing strategies and customer service. So, all these efforts in total helped Tesco to reduce their costs and also refocus on their core markets. And eventually, the company was able to recover from the loss and return to gaining profit for the following years. That's all for me. Thank you.
Here I am, Humaira will continue with the question 617. Do you believe gathering information is important for Tesco to win markets? Why or why not? Yes, I believe gathering information is important for Tesco to win markets. Gathering information allows Tesco to carry out external and internal analysis, which called the SWOT analysis. This allows Tesco to dive into the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, along with the threats that it has been exposed to. Being armed with a strong business intelligence capability, this allows Tesco to collect various kind of data and study regarding customer tastes, personalities, preferences, and possible responses, which facilitate into providing personalized customer experiences, as well as in customizing its product offering and prices. This measure can be categorized into analytical customer relationship management (CRM), which allows Tesco to analyze its customer data, get valuable insight, and drive into strategic decision making. That proves that gathering data is really important to win the target markets. In addition to that, gathering information allowed great comparison to be done. We can see that Tesco was able to recognize the drawbacks of implementing the old strategy of serving at low prices, innovating its stock concepts according to different market needs, as well as to identify and recognize its core competitors such as Aldi and Lidl. From here, we can conclude that ability of gathering the various information allows Tesco to implement its corporate strategies, competitive strategies, as well as functional strategies after careful observation and analysis is done. That is the reason why Tesco was able to spread its wings beyond the United Kingdom and made its name internationally. Hence, it is undeniable that without having proper amount of information, a great depth of comparison on previous performances, actions implemented, as well as on responses received could not be done properly. This will end up making an organization decision taken solely based on surface level analysis without proper weightage on consequences. Thus, it is fundamental for a thorough analysis to be done in order to set proper goals and lay out planning before carry out into action.
And then, moving on to the last question of this case study, how do you describe Tesco's renewal strategy? Do you change anything about it? So, I believe that Tesco's renewal strategy can be described as a strategy of financial recovery and readjustment after the company suffered heavy losses in 2014, mainly due to overly ambitious international expansion. After experiencing these losses, Tesco shifted its strategy from aggressive expansion to a turnaround and refocusing strategy, where instead of trying to grow everywhere, Tesco decided to prioritize efficiency and focus on its core market, especially in the UK. The main reason behind this strategy was to restore the company's profitability and ensure the long-term competitiveness against competitors like Aldi and Lidl. Tesco realized that expanding without strong operational control was unsustainable, so the company needed to stabilize its core market business first. In terms of how this strategy was implemented, Tesco took several actions. First, it refocused on its core market, which is the UK, by closing underperforming international or local operations and strengthening domestic performance. Second, Tesco improved operational efficiency and customer service, such as better store management, improved product availability, and clear pricing. And then third, the company adopted a more well-managed strategy, meaning expansion was done carefully and selectively rather than aggressively. And then lastly, Tesco reduced workforce size and implemented cost control measures to improve overall efficiency. I believe that the strategy worked because it directly addressed Tesco's main problem, which was overexpansion. As a result, Tesco managed to achieve financial recovery by 2018, showing that the renewal strategy was effective. However, I believe that there are still some areas that could be improved. First, Tesco should avoid competing only on price because price wars tend to reduce profit margins for the company and are difficult to sustain in the long term, especially with major competitors like Aldi and Lidl. Instead, Tesco should focus on differentiation by creating long-term value, which helps retain customers and create advantages that competitors cannot easily copy. So, in conclusion, Tesco's strategy was successful, but strengthening differentiation beyond price competition would probably help ensure long-term sustainability.